So welcome to this very special screening. Jane Tranter, executive producer. Let's start off with you. A lot of shows have had big delays over the last few years. Was the delay because people have been waiting a long time for this one because of the pandemic? Was it planned?
It was planned, but I hadn't planned that it would feel quite as long as it was planned. We needed the time to let Lyra and Will grow up a bit, both on screen and off screen, in order to be able to tell the final part of season 3 with all the maturity and complexity and everything that's marvellous in it that it does. But it has felt like a very long time, I have to say. I think COVID does funny things with time, and all I can say is thank you for your patience. We've worked like dogs for 24 months, so we must have worked like double dogs in between season 1 and season 2, but thank you for your patience is all I can say.
And Jack, as one of the writers, the lead writer, what were the challenges for you, particularly after the first 2 series, as Sir Philip Pullman's world becomes ever more intense and complex?
Yeah, it's a really, really big book. So that was the biggest challenge, that how do we tell this as elegantly and as swiftly as possible, whilst getting the complexity that we're all after in it and doing justice to all this incredible talent. Yeah, it was a battle, but it was a really fun battle.
And Ruth, of course, we know you as Mrs. Coulter. Tell us about how... I'm a BBC journalist. I'm impartial on all aspects of people's personalities. What, for you, were the best things about playing this part? Is Mrs. Coulter the kind of person who we understand her motivations, so she actually sees herself as the hero rather than the villain?
I always see myself as the hero, but... No, I think what was so amazing about this part and what Philip wrote in the books was that she was an eternal mystery. So we could keep finding more and more about her, keep peeling the layers off her and discovering more. And it's very rare that you get characters like that. And we found every time, all of us would have different opinions about what Mrs. Coulter, who she was, why she was doing the things she did. So it was endless discussion and endless discovery with someone like Mrs. Coulter. And you never know really what her intentions are, or it's a mystery. And Philip wrote that in the books, and so it was a puzzle for us in the process, and it was wonderful to play.
And Amir, how much of a challenge has it been for you as yours and Lyra's friendship grows more complex, shall we say?
Yeah, I mean, taking on season 3, it was hard just season 2 is very much based in Chittagazzi, and season 3 is the introduction of more worlds and more people, but I had such a great time filming this. I can't even say it was a challenge because everything was kind of fell into place. When you have a great script and a great crew, everything kind of just magically happens.
Yeah, it was really easy.
Yeah. These guys do all the hard work and I just turn up basically.
And Simone, Mary Malone. So what, for you, we've got to be very careful about spoilers here, obviously, because we haven't even seen these first 2 episodes and some people might not have read the books. There's an interesting journey for Mary Malone here, and there are parts where you have a lot of special effects work, green screen perhaps, interact with, shall we just say, creatures and leave it at that. What were the challenges of that as an actress?
Well, yeah, book 3, season 3 gets very trippy for Mary, which we had a lot of fun talking about. Maybe she just ate too many red berries in Chittagazzi, and by the time she gets to the next world, she's thinking that she's seeing things. We've seen an image of Malefa, so I think it's okay to say Malefa. So I did a lot of work this year with puppets and with a lot of green screen, although we did go to Spain for 2 weeks, so we didn't have to do too much green screen, and we did get to have some fun. Sorry, Ruth.
And then we have Ruta and Jade. The witch is, of course, a wonderful part of the story. What can we expect from season 3 of this and the challenges for you as actresses playing these parts?
Honestly, it was really great for me. I got to, as Ruta Skadi, go and work with Azrael and his Republic and, fight on his side. And having witches on your side is basically the best thing you can have, so...
Ruta?
Yeah, I mean, for Serafina, this is the battle that she's always been waiting for. the prophecy is coming, and now it's here, and you see more of her ruthless side, and that was really fun to play and to work with a few unlikely alliances. It was really lovely to work with different actors on the show.
And moving down, we've got Lewin. Lewin is back as Roger. Wait.
How did that happen?
We have missed you. First of all, what's it like being back? And of course, we're straying into spoiler territory again slightly. There's one particular place where we might see you, and what was it like filming in these particular arenas with all the challenges that had?
Well, obviously it was very different from season 1 because, I died. So, without trying to spoil, I am in the land of the dead now, and we had to film in like dark sets, pitch black sets, and I look a little bit pale, a little bit deathly. So I act a little bit different. I'm not as happy as I was. But me personally, it's great to be back with, much of the old crew, same cast. I made friends with a lot of people there. So it's like a little mini reunion. But for Roger, he's still struggling a little bit. But I don't want to spoil it. But yeah, it's good to be back.
Still struggling a little bit. That could be the understatement of the century, couldn't it? And then we have Amber, who you will see in the next couple of episodes you're going to see tonight. It is so hard to believe that this is your first big acting job. What was it like being involved in something like this, part of this His Dark Materials universes, I should say, and how did it come about in the first place? How did you get involved?
So kind of my family, as a group, we were all chatting together, and someone messaged me on the family chat to say that there was an audition for something for acting. And initially I said no, and then I was like, I'll give it a go, and I actually got it, and I couldn't believe it. It's been an amazing experience. I just couldn't believe I'd got the kind of role itself. There were no barriers, everyone was lovely. It was just an amazing experience. And it's, as a kind of deaf person, as a BSL user, it was just lovely to be able to communicate with everyone and enjoy it. And hope you get to enjoy the episode when you see it.
Believe me, you are going to be stunned by Amber's performance, and I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of her in the future if this is a path that she wants to go down. Now, Jane, we see such a lot of big, high-production television out there, things like House of the Dragon, the Lord of the Rings series. I think that the total budget for this probably wouldn't cover the catering budget of Rings of Power. How do you manage it? You're about to see something incredible on screen where the effects, the vision, the scope is phenomenal. How do you do it on the budgets that you have?
Well, we start by crushing Jack Thorne's dreams. He writes the script that he wants to do, and then we take his dreams and stamp on them in front of his face, and then we move forward from there. I think that's probably fair. We basically did it because there is an amazing team of people who've been with us all the way through the seasons, and they have been so inventive. When you have I'm not saying we didn't have a good budget, but you don't have the budget that other people might have, or any of those other shows mentioned. And so you have to be really, really inventive. And it has to run through your veins, really 24/7. I often say I think the show was loved into production, and really it was loved into production behind the camera by Jack, by my fellow executive producer Dan McCulloch, by the incredible production designer Joel Collins, who'd done a lot of Black Mirror before he came this. He was also an executive producer, and so he was able to suggest so many ways. Like, for example, we didn't really go to the land of the dead. We built it in a studio. We didn't really go to Chittagazze. We built that in a studio. That is the genius of Joel. And then there was a VFX supervisor called Russell Dodgson, who did a lot of the environment work and critically the demons work. And it was really the inventiveness of those people that made it not a compromise to have the budget we did, but a piece of creative challenge.
And Jack, of course, you had to work very closely with Philip Pullman's text. What were the biggest challenges for you in taking this enormous novel and making it into these episodes? Are there bits that you really regret you didn't manage to squeeze in? You know, what was that process like? Tell us a bit about that.
I mean, if you want to do regrets, you know, I can talk for about 3 hours about regrets.
Just in his dark materials,
yeah.
You know, to be
when
fair.
I was 6 years old, you know, I was mean to Damien, and I shouldn't have been. It's such a complicated role. A book, you know, that we described at the beginning of it like doing a PhD, and it really was like doing a PhD in Philip Pullman. We wrote papers. I didn't write them. Cleverer people than me wrote papers about the elasticity of metal and stuff like that, so that we just could understand everything. And that trying to get inside his brain was just a constant process. And we were still discovering things on the day of filming, where we just turned back to the book and just kind of get a little bit of extra from it. And it was a joy, but it was the hardest job in the world.
And Ruth, of course, you have, let's say, a complex relationship with your daughter in this. What was it like portraying that? How's it been working with Daphne over these 3 seasons, and what's it meant to you as an actress?
Yeah, I mean, Daphne is amazing. And from the very first day when we auditioned Daphne, I thought, wow, she's really intimidating. I thought she was intimidating. And I thought she's extraordinary. And I knew that our scenes were going to be they needed to be the heart of the journey, certainly through that first season. And for Mrs. Coulter's journey, they need to be sort of really work, those scenes. And it was easy. She was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, and she'll continue to be brilliant in her career, and I can't wait to see what she does next. But they were always really fun to get. We didn't have many scenes, actually. As it goes on throughout the season, there's like, you get 1 or 2 a season, but they were always really fun to do, and we always both look forward to doing them. But yeah, that's Mrs. Coulter's whole driving force is her daughter, so it was a key for me in how to approach that character, and working with Daph. But thank God, she was brilliant. So.
She was. And is.
And I wish she was here. Oh. Where is she?
She's on her way.
She's on her way. She's on a plane.
Yeah,
she's coming.
But she won't make it to this, unfortunately, this evening.
Oh, great.
But
sorry, guys. You don't get to see her.
But on the same kind of theme, Amir, tell us how your friendship with Daphne has developed and the way you act and perform together. What's that been like for you as an experience?
Yeah, well, it's just lucky we get along. Otherwise, this would have been a stress. I'll tell you that. No, we had a great time, and as Ruth said it all, but Daphne is amazing, and working with her is such a joy. I mean, early on, it was. We were both talk about how we were both nervous to meet each other. We spent lots of times walking in Butte Park in Cardiff, kind of getting to know each other, and we had a great time filming this, and we're lucky to work with the people we worked with.
Well, it's a fantastic first 2 episodes. I've actually seen up to episodes 4 and a bit, and I'm really enjoying it so far, but no spoilers. We have to finish it there. Another round of applause, please, for our incredible cast and crew for His Dark Materials Season 3.